Riff here from Blues Guitar Unleashed. Welcome and thanks for joining me. We're going to talk a little bit about a tune called Killing Floor. I believe originally recorded by Howlin' Wolf, but it's been re-recorded by Hendrix and Tab Benoit, and the list goes on and on and on and on. So because of the fact that it's been re-recorded so many times, often with subtle variations, I'm going to kind of do it, I'll say, similar to the original recording. That's kind of what I'm basing this off of. It's by no means the only way to play it, and you're going to hear a lot of variation in it. But at least it's a good place to start. Okay. Now it's a blues in A. Now the original recording is a little bit out of tune, as most old recordings are. It's pretty close to A though, so we're going to go with that. So the basic riff is this, and the way that's done. Let me turn off my overdrive here a little bit, get a little cleaner tone for you. Okay, so the way that's done is, I'm going to start on the A, which is at the 5th fret of the 6th string, and I'm using my middle finger here because the rest of it's going to be played with my 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th on the 5th string. Okay, so I'm going to go A, C sharp, D, D sharp, E. Rhythmically, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now, I think one of the biggest parts of getting this to really, really sound authentic and not messy is to kind of pulse the middle finger, not go and hold it down. You'll notice that I kind of pulse it and let go. Not let go all the way so that it makes noise. Relax, but stay on it. And you'll notice I down pick until it gets faster. Okay, I'm keeping in the beat that way. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and. And sometimes it's played really fast. So again, depending on whose version you hear, I've heard it played really, really fast, and I've heard it played kind of grooving. A little bit of palm mute on the right hand doesn't hurt either. Particularly, again, if I stick a little overdrive on it, I don't want it to be really like out of control. With a little bit of palm mute, I can kind of keep that sound under control. Now I realize I haven't talked about the other two chords, but there's nothing different. All I'm going to do is take the whole thing and move it up to D. So I can move to the D at the 5th fret of the 5th string, and that'll work. It's the exact same riff, played exactly the same way, no change whatsoever. Or I could move up to the D here on the 10th fret. Either way, I'm going to get the same set of notes. And then, and we're just going through the 12-bar blues form, right? So I've got the 1 chord, 2, 3, 4, 4 chord, 1, 2, back to the 1 chord, again, 5 chord, sorry, I couldn't see it, 4 chord, 1 chord. On the original recording, he kind of just stings that last bar instead of doing the riff again. He just strikes the E7, okay? variations abound, of course. You know, you don't have to go from 5 to 4, for example, on bars 9 and 10. You don't have to go down to 4. You could stay on 5. Any of the above would work, okay? It's one of those things where you've got some leeway to play. Now, if you're playing it with somebody else and you guys have never played the tune before, this is one of those things you'd have to work out. You know, you'd have to decide ahead of time. You can't just expect that somebody's going to know your way of playing this tune. There's no right or wrong because there's a lot of recordings of this, okay? Now, there's a very common sort of melody element. The way that this is done, if you want to add it in, is if I were to, I'm in A, right? So if I were to take A and imagine a bar chord, just an A major bar chord, or A7, either one, and remove every finger except the first string and the third string. So I've got the A on the first string and the C sharp on the third string. From here, there's a really common move where I go from here up. Notice I've got my middle finger and my first finger. My middle finger is going to go up a half step, but the note on top needs to go up a whole step, so I'm going to switch to my third finger. So now my middle finger is on the 7th fret of the third string, while my ring finger is at the 7th fret of the top string. And I'm going to then go up 2 more frets. Okay? Now, my first finger, you're going to notice I'm going to lay across. The reason I'm doing that is so that when I strum, I don't get this. I don't want all this other stuff to ring out. I just want those 2 notes. So my first finger just lightly mutes the rest out. And I play the 9th fret with both fingers, 7th, and then I go back to, I'll actually sometimes go ahead and bar the E and B strings with my first finger and get a 3-note chord, but you don't have to. 2 notes is all we need. It could just be, you can slide into it if you want, or just play it straight. And it's beat-wise, it's 1, 2, and 3, and a 4, and 1, and 3, and 4, and 1. So it's 2 bars. Now when the band goes to D, guess what I do? Same thing. So there's D, and up to, go up to 1 fret, up 2 frets. Then it goes, band goes back to A, so I go back to A. Band goes to E, so I go to E. Band goes back to A, I go back to A. Sorry. Okay, so now, once again, it depends very, very much on which recording of this you hear. In a Howlin' Wolf version that I was listening to, that melody was actually going on behind the vocal. In a different version, I think it was Tab Benoit that I was listening to, that melody was sort of put out front on its own with no vocal. They sort of started with the first riff and then played that melody and then the vocal came in. You could do it either way, but again, you'd want to work that out ahead of time. So hope you dig that. Hope you have some fun with it. It's a very cool example of, you know, how one riff can be moved from chord to chord to chord, and it's a very common thing to do in the blues. So again, I hope you dug it. Hope you have some fun with it, and I'll see you soon.